In the first period, the Islanders had to kill off 3 Wild power plays. They did so successfully, and they took advantage of their first shot of the game. Didn't come till halfway through the period.
No, and as Barry mentioned, they did a real good job. The Wild weren't really able to get a whole lot done, and then finally, when the Islanders got an opportunity, a good forecheck by Barzal, and Jordan Eberle was up high. He moved in right away, sensing there was an opportunity, and really showed some nice poise. Got around the outside of the defenseman Brodin, and then waited for the goaltender Stalack to open up. So sometimes that's just what you need, just to have a little patience, not panic with the puck. Jordan Eberle's been around a long time, so yes, he's happy to get a goal, and hopefully that really gets him going.
Goal drought over for Jordan Eberle. It's just his 3rd goal in the last 26 games, as he scores the only goal of the first period, now 14 on the season with 10 games to go. So the Islanders wound up being up 1-0 at the start of the second period, and you heard Barry Trotz say that the second period was their worst period of this hockey game. They took some more penalties. They needed a review to go their way to come out of that period with a lead. Just an interesting frame all over.
It was not a good period for the Islanders, and they just didn't get their feet moving, and the Wild won all the races, and there's the interference call on Anders Lee over the goaltender, but the play would continue on. So there's 2 guys down there. Now the Islanders are outnumbered. Well, the goaltender hasn't left yet, but the Wild would take a little look, and then Donato would drive towards the net. But as we saw in the rebound, he played the goaltender's pads, pushed him out of the way. And so they still got a power play because Anders Lee was on a delayed call this whole time. And finally, just an innocent shot towards the net. And Zach Parise, who earns his living around the front of the net, is able to beat Thomas Greiss on a secondary try with the stick between the legs. That ain't easy to do, but he had to get the angle. But Anders Lee in front of the net, and the Islanders finally strike for a power play goal as Taze, just a little wrist shot, a good solid wrist shot, and Anders Lee in his favorite spot, and the good hand-eye coordination deflects it down and away from the goaltender, and the Islanders recapture the lead after 2 periods.
Anders Lee, goals in 4 straight to get to 27 now on the season as the Islanders score their first power play goal after 11 games without one. They wound up going 25 consecutive power plays without a goal until Anders Lee scores what is a big one in this hockey game. It gave them a 2-1 lead after 2 periods of play. Big news for the Islanders, getting a power play goal. I just think that could do wonders for this team, just washing that away.
Well, I think it just gives them a feeling that they can get a couple of breaks here and there. They've had plenty of chances, particularly over the last couple of games. They've moved it around much better, but the hockey gods have not been smiling on them. So a lot of times that's the one break you need, is to get a little bit of a lucky goal, although Anders Lee certainly has great hand-eye coordination. But that type of deflection, because we've seen it hit goaltenders, hit goalposts, hit crossbars, and not going in. So perhaps the good fortune is now going to sway towards the Islanders, because it hasn't been all that great lately. And they're going to need that power play. You and I talked at the top of the show. The offense 5-on-5 has got to start scoring from a forward's perspective. So if they can do that and they can score on the power play, then they're going to win a lot more hockey games.
The Islanders were able to kill off the first 4 power plays for the Wild. They scored on their 5th, and they would score on their 6th. The only goal of the 3rd period, the game-tying goal on the 6th power play for the Wild, Jared Spurgeon in front of the net.
Well, and he hangs around on that far side and on his forehand side, and this is why you shoot the puck. I mean, the Minnesota Wild, just a quick wrist shot, and then a nice little pass all the way across to Jared Spurgeon. You see the rebound, and it's Parise that gets it all the way across. I don't think he was giving it to Spurgeon. He knows he's there, so he doesn't have to look. He just has to shovel it, and it's a wide-open shot. So the shot creates the opportunity, and when you have someone in front of the net and you have good hockey sense, and we talked about Parise having all the elements, the leader of the team, they tie it up, and the Islanders now have to figure out a way to at least get 1 and get themselves in a position to have 2.
After it hit the halfway point of the 3rd period, you saw safe mode come out for both teams. No one really pressuring too much, making sure they secured that point. They got the point. They went to overtime, and the Islanders went to work. Winds up being Brock Nelson getting the game winner. They were able to catch the Wild in a long shift. They were able to steal the puck away and bury it.
Well, that happens on so many occasions, Brendan. It's an offensive opportunity, or you're down and you're trying to get something done. And it's Brock Nelson and certainly Mike Barzal. That's just a terrific move by Barzal to get around Suter and not shoot it right away. He didn't quite like it. There's the move, but he's got no angle. But a quick pass out to Brock Nelson that gives him lots of time. And Kunin's the one that screens the goaltender. Went down to block a shot, maybe instead of pressure him a little bit. But tremendous 1-2 passing situation between those 2 guys, Nelson and Barzal.